Now, one of the world's greatest enduring mysteries is a mystery no more. For decades, the Bermuda Triangle has captured imaginations with stories of vanishing planes and ships. But now, new scientific theory claims to have finally answered.
Our world hides secrets that science still can't fully explain. Imagine rivers that boil without volcanoes, flames that burn beneath waterfalls, and seas that glow like galaxies. These places seem to break the rules of nature itself, yet they're completely real. From eerie landscapes to breathtaking wonders, each one tells a story that challenges our understanding of the Earth. Ready to see how far reality can stretch? Here are 15 scientifically impossible places that actually exist, if you dare to believe. The Bermuda Triangle, stretching across the western North Atlantic Ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and San Juan, Puerto Rico, lies one of the most mysterious and talked-about regions on the planet. The Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle, this vast expanse of ocean has long been a place where fact and legend blur. Over the years, countless ships and aircraft have disappeared here under strange circumstances, their crews never found, their signals vanishing without a trace. Compasses spin erratically, instruments fail, and skies that seem calm can suddenly erupt into violent storms. It's no wonder the area has captured human imagination for generations. The mystery gained global attention during the mid-20th century, when several high-profile disappearances turned the Bermuda Triangle into a cultural phenomenon. Among them was Flight 19, a squadron of 5 U.S. Navy bombers that vanished during a training mission in 1945, and the SS Cyclops, a massive naval cargo ship that disappeared in 1918 with more than 300 men aboard. The site has been studied by scientists who at the same time consider different explanations. A group of researchers believes that the magnetic anomalies in the area might create a problem for the navigational devices. Another group points to the possibility of gas emissions from the ocean floor that could lead to the almost instantaneous disappearance of the ships due to the abrupt drop in water density. At the same time, sudden storms, erratic waves, and human errors are considered by many to be the main reasons behind the triangle's infamous reputation. On the other hand, scientists have not provided any convincing evidence yet that the Bermuda Triangle is a more perilous zone than the rest of the ocean. However, the spot remains an attraction for people. It is like a blend of science, myth, and fear that refuses to be extinguished. Keep your eyes wide open. The next one will make you question what's real and what's pure magic. The Sea of Stars. Off the shimmering coast of Vadhu Island in the Maldives lies one of the most enchanting spectacles on Earth. The Sea of Stars. When night falls, the tranquil waters surrounding the island transform into a living galaxy, glowing with thousands of blue lights that ripple and shimmer with every wave. To an observer, it appears as though the stars have descended from the heavens to dance upon the sea, creating a surreal, dreamlike scene that blurs the line between science and magic. The sudden appearance of the Starry Sea phenomenon can be attributed to bioluminescent phytoplankton, which are tiny marine organisms that can give off light upon being disturbed. The action of waves striking the shore or that of a person walking on the wet sand stirs up these microorganisms, thereby energizing them for their radiant blue defense. The whole process involves a chemical reaction known as bioluminescence, wherein the molecule luciferin undergoes oxidation and cold light is produced without heat. There is no difference in the luminosity of fireflies, some jellyfish, and deep-sea critters, where the same thing happens, but witnessing it engulf an entire beach is an unforgettable moment for many. The Maldives created a perfect scenario for nature to perform this miracle. Warm, nutrient-laden waters and placid conditions made there, making it easier for the plankton to grow in great numbers. Some specific times of the year, particularly still, moonless nights, are when the Sea of Stars gets its highest brilliance. Apart from its aesthetic appeal, the bioluminescent sea serves as a reminder to scientists of the very delicate balance in marine ecosystems. Even very minor fluctuations in temperature or pollution might be enough to completely eradicate the microorganisms that create this wonder. The boiling river of the Amazon. Deep within the heart of the Peruvian Amazon lies one of the world's most baffling natural wonders, the boiling river of the Amazon, locally known as Shanai Timpishka, meaning boiled with the heat of the sun. This remarkable river flows through the Mayantuyacu Sanctuary, surrounded by dense rainforest and rich biodiversity. What makes it so astonishing is that its waters are scalding hot, reaching temperatures up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, about 93 degrees Celsius, hot enough to cause severe burns or even slay small animals that fall into it. Researchers pointed the finger at geothermal activity lying well beneath the Earth's surface as the cause. It is believed that after heavy rains, water gets infiltrated deep down into the Earth's crust, where it is heated to the point of boiling, and then through the river fault lines, the water is reintroduced back into the river. The described process, while very possible, does not come anywhere near explaining the river's enormous size and the surprising constancy of its temperature. The local native tribes treat it as a holy place, and they believe that it has the power to heal and to purify spiritually. The shamans have always made use of its steam and hot water in their religious practice, which has somewhat contributed to the mystery surrounding the scientific issue and also added a mystic layer to it. The river that boils is nothing less than a geological wonder of the Earth's crust, while it also covers a very delicate flora and fauna in the form of microorganisms that can withstand the highest temperatures. There is continuous research going on in the area, which is trying to trace back the river's past, and also wants to get a better understanding of how geothermal systems can arise thousands of kilometers from the volcanic zone. The Sargasso Sea, in the midst of the vast Atlantic Ocean, lies a mysterious and unique body of water known as the Sargasso Sea, the only sea on Earth that has no land boundaries. Unlike traditional seas confined by coastlines, the Sargasso Sea is defined entirely by ocean currents: the Gulf Stream, North Atlantic Current, Canary Current, and North Atlantic Equatorial Current. These powerful flows form an immense, slowly rotating gyre that encloses an area of calm, deep blue water, creating a distinct and almost ethereal maritime region. At the heart of this sea floats a dense layer of sargassum, a type of free-floating brown algae that gives the Sargasso Sea its name. These drifting mats stretch for miles, forming floating forests that provide shelter and breeding grounds for countless marine species. Creatures such as the sargassum fish, sea turtles, and various crustaceans depend on this habitat for survival. The calmness of the sea, combined with its abundance of life, creates an ecological paradox. A tranquil yet thriving ecosystem in the middle of one of the world's busiest oceans. The sea's strange calmness and lucidity are the primary factors in attracting scientists' attention. Its water is very clear and warm, and this makes it quite different from the nearby roaring Atlantic. The Sargasso Sea, despite its beauty, suffers from environmental problems like plastic pollution and global warming, which may cause its fragile ecosystem to collapse. Moreover, the sea's historical significance is very interesting from the scientific point of view, since it was rumored to be a trap for ships by sailors who called it a mysterious and motionless region. The Great Blue Hole. Off the coast of Belize, nestled within the Lighthouse Reef, lies one of the planet's most awe-inspiring and enigmatic marine wonders, the Great Blue Hole. This colossal underwater sinkhole, nearly 1,000 feet or 300 meters across and about 400 feet or 120 meters deep, forms a perfect circle that stands out vividly against the turquoise waters of the Caribbean Sea. Its deep sapphire hue is not only visually mesmerizing, but also a hint of the mystery that lies beneath the surface. The Great Blue Hole was once a vast limestone cave system formed during the last ice age, when sea levels were significantly lower. As the planet warmed and ocean levels rose, the cave's roof collapsed, creating this immense vertical chasm. Today, the hole is a portal into Earth's geological past, adorned with stalactites and stalagmites, remnants of ancient caves that existed above sea level thousands of years ago. The Great Blue Hole is a source of excitement and intrigue to divers and scientists. The unique marine creatures are living in its deep waters, among them the reef sharks, the giant groupers, and the midnight parrotfish. The exploration of the hole has confirmed that there are indeed lower layers devoid of oxygen, which create a dark and peaceful world where no sunlight reaches. Even though there are myths that the blue hole can swallow ships, science tells a more realistic yet equally fascinating story, that of a colossal sinkhole that is Earth's powerful geological forces turned into a visible form. The Great Blue Hole, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, has been and still is a potent symbol of the wonders and mysteries of nature, as well as the long periods of time and storytelling. Racetrack Playa. Hidden within the desolate beauty of Death Valley National Park in California lies one of Earth's most puzzling natural mysteries, Racetrack Playa, home to the phenomenon of the moving rocks. This dry lake bed, encircled by rugged mountains, stretches wide and flat, like a natural racetrack. But it's not its size that captures attention. It's the strange sight of rocks that appear to move on their own, leaving long, winding trails behind them in the cracked mud. For an extended period, perplexed scientists and tourists could not understand how these massive and extremely heavy stones, the heaviest of which weighed hundreds of pounds, could move across the playa, and that too, without an unseen power. Theories covering magnetic fields to jokers were suggested, but no theory convincingly fit the situation. Later, with the help of painstaking observation and cutting-edge technology, the real, although still incredible, explanation was unveiled by the researchers. On the rare occasion of winter nights, the playa gets a thin ice sheet over a shallow water layer. The sun, upon rising, starts the melting process, and the light winds take these ice panels to the rocks, and the stones are consequently pushed across the wet, slippery surface. As the ice goes away, the rocks are left with trails around them, looking like nature's handwriting. Though science did a great deal, seeing the phenomenon still is nearly impossible, as the conditions need to be set just right. Very cold, water present, frozen, and wind in a very delicate balance. The view of those lonely stones and their phantom tracks still piques curiosity, a ghostly reminder that even the most arduous and uninhabited places can hide nature's silent miracles, where quietness itself is a ruse. Magnetic Hill in Moncton. On the outskirts of Moncton, New Brunswick, lies a curious stretch of road that seems to defy one of nature's most fundamental laws, gravity. Known as Magnetic Hill, this unassuming incline has puzzled and delighted visitors for decades. When drivers reach a specific point, shift their cars into neutral, and release the brake, something extraordinary happens. The vehicle appears to roll uphill entirely on its own. The illusion is so convincing that it feels as if a mysterious magnetic force is pulling the car against gravity's pull. Nevertheless, the explanation is no less captivating in that it is less supernatural. The scientists have figured out that the phenomenon is nothing but a very clever optical illusion formed by the nature around it. The horizon and the tree line are so positioned that the very mild downhill slope is interpreted by the human eye as a steep uphill slope. Our perception is fooled without a real visual reference point. What seems to be a climb is, in fact, a fall. The alteration of the viewpoint turns a mere road into a gravity hill among the world's most popular ones. Magnetic Hill has gained popularity not only among scientists, but also among regular people as a tourist spot. Eventually, the site turned into a full attraction comprising not only a theme park and a zoo, but also vineyards that produce wine from the grapes grown in this area. Thousands of people come to the area every year just to experience the effect of gravity in reverse. Whether it is seen as a scientific anomaly or a humorous deception of the senses, Magnetic Hill continues to be the perfect illustration of the extent to which human perception can go in changing reality. Hold your breath, because this next one takes mystery to a deeper and darker level. Australia's Devil's Pool. Hidden deep within the Babinda boulders of Queensland, Australia, lies an eerie and beautiful natural formation known as Devil's Pool. Surrounded by lush rainforest and ancient granite rocks, this seemingly tranquil site conceals a dark and mysterious past. The pool's crystal-clear waters and smooth boulders create a picture of serenity, but beneath its calm surface lies a treacherous network of hidden currents, underwater caves, and swirling whirlpools that have claimed the lives of many who ventured too close. The local Yidinji Aboriginal people have long regarded the site as sacred, and their legend lends the pool its haunting reputation. According to their lore, a beautiful woman named Ulana fell in love with a man from another tribe, defying tradition. When they were discovered, Ulana fled into the waters, crying out for her lost lover before vanishing. Her spirit is said to linger in the pool, luring young men to their fate. This tragic tale has earned the site its ominous title, the Devil's Pool. The danger, as seen from a scientific viewpoint, comes from the peculiar geological formation of the spot. The danger, as seen from a scientific viewpoint, comes from the peculiar geological formation of the spot. Curious travelers and thrill-seekers continue to come to the area despite the beauty that has won over the warnings and restricted access. The Devil's Pool is a reminder of how nature's attractiveness is often linked with danger. It's a place where myth, mystery, and science intersect, causing both fear and fascination. A hauntingly beautiful spot where legend warns us to respect the untamed forces of the natural world. The Devil's Kettle. Tucked away in Judge C.R. Magny State Park in northern Minnesota lies one of nature's most perplexing mysteries. The Devil's Kettle. Along the Brule River, a magnificent waterfall splits into two streams. One half flows predictably down the rocky slope toward Lake Superior, but the other vanishes mysteriously into a deep, dark hole carved into the granite, the so-called Kettle. For decades, visitors and scientists alike have been left wondering, where does the missing water go? This natural puzzle has inspired countless theories. Some speculated that the water plunged into a vast underground river system, while others believed it connected to hidden caves or re-emerged miles away in an unknown location. Researchers even tried dropping brightly colored dyes, ping-pong balls, and tracking devices into the hole. Yet none ever surfaced downstream, deepening the enigma. Nevertheless, contemporary studies utilizing flow measurements have provided a more substantial rationale. The researchers indicated that the water probably flows back to the main river through fissures and cracks below the ground, which are not visible from the surface. However, due to the high-density rock formation of the region and the lack of access, the specific routes are still to be discovered. Located at the boundary between the scientific and the magical, the Devil's Kettle is a natural wonder that every person who comes to see it cannot help but be charmed. The thundering noise from the falls, the rising mist, and the seemingly bottomless hole all contribute to such an atmosphere that is both captivating and frightening at the same time. Amazingly, there is still a place where the world of the known just fades away, and the unknown takes over silently, reminding us how even in our tech-savvy era, nature still hides some of its secrets, which are very difficult to explain. A total confirmation of the quiet, steadfast mysteries of the planet. Rainbow Mountain. High in the Peruvian Andes stands one of the planet's most visually stunning geological formations, Rainbow Mountain, or Vinicunca. This breathtaking natural wonder, rising over 17,000 feet, or 5,200 meters above sea level, looks as though an artist brushed vibrant bands of color across its slopes. From vivid reds and golds to deep purples, greens and blues, the mountain's palette seems almost otherworldly, earning it a reputation as one of South America's most striking landscapes. Rainbow Mountain, with its extraordinary colors, is a wonder of nature that results from the mysterious interplay of oxide minerals in its sedimentary layers. For millions of years, distinct mineral deposits created by volcanic activity have been buried, and the weathering has gradually worn away the surface to oxidize and become the natural pigments. Iron oxide gives reds and yellows, while chlorite gives greens, and sulfur provides shades of gold. All these mingled together to form the mountain's distinctive multicolored stripes, a wonder of nature that is exclusive to this part of the Andes Range. Rainbow Mountain was hidden under snow and ice for a considerable amount of time, and hence its visibility was zero. Only in the last few decades has the mountain started to reveal its colors due to the shifting of climates. After this, it became a religious and cultural symbol for the Quechua people living in the area. They regarded the mountain as a source of spirituality and included it in their pilgrimage routes along with the Ausangate Mountain, which is deeply embedded in Incan mythology and the very ancient Incan Trail. The Rainbow Mountain region has turned out to be a prime spot for tourists from all over the world, and yet environmentalist groups, at the same time, caution the public to be mindful of the area's sensitive nature and act accordingly. The Zone of Silence. Deep in the arid deserts of northern Mexico, stretching across parts of Durango, Chihuahua, and Coahuila, lies one of the most enigmatic regions on Earth, the Zone of Silence, La Zona del Silencio. Covering roughly 50 kilometers in diameter, this remote expanse is infamous for its peculiar ability to disrupt radio signals, compasses, and communication equipment. Travelers who enter the area often find their electronic devices malfunctioning, as if the desert itself were cloaked in an invisible field of interference. The mystery of the zone first drew attention in the 1970s when a U.S. military test missile veered hundreds of miles off course and landed squarely in the region. Scientists sent to retrieve it reported strange magnetic anomalies and noted that radio communication failed repeatedly during the recovery effort. Since then, the Zone of Silence has become a subject of scientific curiosity and supernatural speculation alike. The phenomenon's advocates have put forward multiple natural explanations. While some attribute the interruptions to high mineral concentrations and magnetic deposits in the ground, others consider the region's peculiar geomagnetic alignment to be a reason that could lead to radio waves becoming distorted. Nevertheless, theories will not replace a single explanation that would encompass all the signal distortions that have been taking place for such a long time. The reports of UFO sightings and mysterious lights only contribute more to the already great interest in the whole phenomenon, thereby giving even more support to the local legends about the presence of extraterrestrials. The zone's eerie stillness, besides its remoteness from the rest of the planet, only helps in creating the unearthly impression. The Zone of Silence remains an enigmatic mix of science and myth, whether it is a natural electromagnetic anomaly or a supernatural hotspot. It is the place where the devices do not work, the legends grow, and the desert itself seems to be communicating the secrets from beyond our understanding. The Hessdalen Lights. Nestled within the serene Hessdalen Valley in central Norway lies one of the world's most persistent and puzzling natural phenomena, the Hessdalen Lights. Since the early 1980s, locals and visitors have reported mysterious glowing orbs and pulsating lights that appear in the sky above the valley, often hovering motionlessly or darting rapidly through the night air. Initially, a large number of people were convinced that the lights existed only in the mind or were wrongly identified as airplanes. But scientists, photographers, and tourists' repeated sightings eventually confirmed the lights' existence. The anomaly triggered the Hessdalen Project, a long-term research program that aimed to find the source of the lights. The researchers used various equipment, such as cameras, radar, and spectrometers, to gather data, which suggested that the lights emit electromagnetic radiation that can be measured. But at the same time, the reason for their existence remains unknown. Several theories have been presented. One of the suggestions points to the lights being caused by ionized dust particles that are a consequence of the interaction of the valley's metallic minerals with the atmospheric plasma. On the contrary, one more hypothesis postulates that the so-called piezoelectric effects, i.e., the electric charges produced when quartz rocks are compressed, may be responsible for the energy releases that we see as glowing balls. The Hessdalen Lights, apart from being a scientific phenomenon, have become a significant cultural and tourist attraction. Thus, they are the ideal site for those wanting to witness a ghost-like glow. The gentle sway of the lights across the northern sky reminds us that even during the age of science and reason, nature continues to have its mysteries that show up, not quite visible yet, between physics and the unknown, a godly performance that never gets entirely comprehended. Eisriesenwelt Ice Cave. Deep within the Austrian Alps, just outside the town of Werfen, lies a frozen realm of breathtaking grandeur. The Eisriesenwelt Ice Cave, whose name translates to World of the Ice Giants. Stretching over 40 kilometers into the Tennengebirge mountain range, it is the largest ice cave on Earth, an awe-inspiring labyrinth of glacial formations, towering ice walls, and frozen sculptures that glimmer in shades of blue and white. Entering the cave feels like stepping into another world, one sculpted not by human hands, but by the patient artistry of nature over millennia. Formed through the interplay of limestone and ice, Eisriesenwelt owes its creation to the slow, persistent forces of erosion and temperature variation. During summer, warm air currents rise into the cave, melting surface snow, while in winter, cold air sinks and freezes the water that seeps inside. Over thousands of years, this cycle has built vast ice columns, frozen waterfalls, and delicate crystal curtains that continue to evolve with each passing season. Naturalist Anton Posselt stumbled upon the cave in 1879, and it was not until the early 20th century that adventurers came to showcase the extensive area of the cave, full of ice wonders. Nowadays, only 1 kilometer of the cave is available to the public. Yet that short trip provides a fantastical view of the ice formations that nature has created and shaped. Eisriesenwelt is not only a geological marvel, but also a symbolic representation of the Earth's history and transformation. The dazzling corridors and the absence of sound in the deeper parts of the cave serve as a reminder to each person who dares to enter the cave that even in the iciest and darkest spots on the planet, beauty is still there because of the subtle and unrecognizable fight of the natural forces that are not human-controlled. Mount Roraima, rising dramatically where Venezuela, Brazil, and Guyana meet, Mount Roraima stands as one of Earth's most striking and mysterious natural formations. This colossal, flat-topped mountain, known as a tepui or tabletop mountain, soars more than 9,200 feet, or 2,800 feet 100 meters into the clouds, its sheer cliffs enclosing a vast summit plateau that spans an incredible 31 square kilometers. From a distance, It appears like a floating island in the sky, its summit often wrapped in swirling mist, giving it an almost otherworldly presence. In geological terms, Mount Roraima is a very old mountain, almost 2 billion years old, which is why it is one of the oldest rock formations on Earth. The summit has its own rare world or plateau on it that has been formed through the harsh rains and strong winds into strange stone pillars, gorges, and shimmering lakes. The place where the mountain is situated has been cut off from the rest of the world for millions of years, and thus, evolution there followed its own route. This resulted in a group of species that are exclusive to this place and are not found anywhere else on the planet. The plants that are insect eaters, the delicate orchids that flower in the very thin mountain air, and the odd frogs that have developed special characteristics enabling them to live in the tough, rain-drenched locale. Mount Roraima is a holy place for the indigenous people of the Pimon tribe. They have the belief that it is the trunk of a giant tree that once gave fruits and vegetables to the whole world, the very tree of creation and a divine relic. Its spiritual importance persists, and it's still a symbol of the heavenly and earthly connection. Still catching your breath? You'll need it for what's coming next. It's pure, elemental magic. Eternal Flame Falls. Hidden within the peaceful forests of Chestnut Ridge Park near Buffalo, New York, lies one of Earth's most astonishing natural contradictions, Eternal Flame Falls. At first glance, it appears to be a small, serene waterfall, cascading gently over layers of shale rock. But look closer, and you'll spot something extraordinary. A tiny golden flame burning steadily behind the veil of water. It flickers and dances against the damp stone, defiantly refusing to be extinguished by the constant spray of the falls. For many who stumble upon it, the sight feels magical, a living paradox where fire and water exist side by side in perfect harmony. The surface is where this captivating event gets its secret revealed. There are natural methane gas layers in the rock of the falls that gradually seep upwards through small cracks in the Earth's crust. When the gas moves out and comes in contact with the open air, it gets ignited, sometimes spontaneously by lightning or friction, but often by people who light it again when the flame gets extinguished. As long as there is a steady supply of methane from deep down, it will keep burning. What draws the attention of scientists more than anything is the fact that the gas here seems to come out from abnormally cool geological conditions, which are way lower in temperature than typical natural gas seeping. The process hints at a rare and poorly understood chemical reaction happening within the shale itself. The world is full of mysteries waiting to be explored, and we've only scratched the surface. Which of these 15 scientifically impossible places amazed you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next adventure into the unbelievable. And before you go, make sure to watch the next video on your screen. It's another mind-blowing journey you won't want to miss.